Marketing Monday. And, what happens is I end up talking to the people who are doing things, right? That's just my role. So the people that aren't doing things have nothing to talk to me about. People that are doing things talk to me about things. And we come up with some crazy crap. And my daughter, Jessica, is doing a lot of things. And we talk a lot, aside from father and daughter, but as real estate, because she's doing a lot of stuff, right? And she keeps coming across things. So I thought today, as a real life example, one of the things we could talk about was you've got some listings that are going live and you're getting multiple offers and you got to handle all that. And you've got buyers you're working with that are, in multiple offer situations, you're doing all kinds of stuff. So marketing is one of the things that is very hard to define, but it's everything we do. Every time you do something, you're marketing, right?
Right.
We have a system we practice, and you're probably held to a higher standard than most because your father's your broker, your uncle's your broker, your grandfather's your broker, your mother, you're just expected to do, right?
Yeah.
And I meant to look it up, but how many transactions have you closed this year? Are you 24, 25?
That's a good question. It's something like that. I know better than this. Okay, I have it in a spreadsheet. I just have not memorized it. Oh man, that's
yeah. What's a common trait of all the Happy Agent podcasts we do? What's a common trait?
It's not about the money.
It's nothing to do with money. Nobody knows how many deals they've done. Not one of them.
That's bad. They say that's bad though.
No, it's not.
Well, whoever they is irrelevant because it doesn't matter. That's bad to them, not bad to you. So you do you and screw them, right?
I do have a spreadsheet. I'm probably around 24. So.
But are the bills paid?
On what?
Your bills are paid.
My bills are paid. Thank God, because I remember the days when I was coming to you with 11 cents in my bank account and wanting to quit real estate. So
let's tell that story for a second, because I think this is really relevant story. So I'll never forget it. In the South Tampa office, right? There's Jessica on the verge of tears, right? Really stressed out, and shows me her mobile app, Bank of America screenshot with her bank statement on it at the time. And say the number, do you remember? Because I made you take a screenshot of it, remember?
Yeah, it was like 11 or 13 cents.
Really, truly, 11 or 13 cents. I can't do this.
That was all that was in there. It was really bad.
I'm not doing this anymore. This sucks. This business sucks. I hate this job. I'm going to go find another job. I can't do this anymore. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I said, make sure you take a screenshot because you will never have this problem again, right? If you change, keeping her from jumping out the window. That's
Joe's helped with that a lot too.
We've all been there, right? It's part of what this job is, until you realize that it's a game and it's a sport and you can play at whatever level you feel like playing at it. I mean, do you now know you're in complete control over your destiny?
Yes. Okay. Which is scary.
Which is scary, and it's a lot of responsibility because nobody's gonna just give you money.
No.
Right? But you know how to earn it, which is a super valuable tool. And every one of you watching, guys, we're so blessed to have that opportunity. And I think sometimes we lose track of that because most of your friends right now, how old are you now, Jess?
28.
28 years old. Most of your friends are still in starter jobs, right? Climbing up the ladder, making what? What's your average friend making? I'm sure you talk to them about it. You know, what's their income?
Probably between 50 and 60 on average.
Which is pretty good, right?
Well,
I mean, that's
Jessica, you've done 23 closings for $158,000.
That's Masters Ruby. Yes, I was really worried about that. That's good.
You've got 23,000 pending on top of that, so you're going to be around 180.
Oh, I just sold one last night too, so we can add to that. Yay!
Right.
Great.
Just to put relevance, right? That's a lot of transactions closed in the first 10 months of the year.
And she's able to control it. The interesting thing, since this is Marketing Monday, I think it's be relevant to everything we're going to talk about today. somebody asked me the difference between marketing and sales, right? What's the simplicity? What's the simple? Because they're completely different animals. One
Yeah.
marketing, right? So marketing, acting, selling is closing, right? And
Mhm.
so if we're honest, guys, every one of you don't let your clients hear this. You don't really, there's not a lot of marketing that you guys do. Okay. You do a
Because the
lot of
company
selling.
does. We have Century 21 behind us. We have Beggins Enterprises behind you. The company does the marketing.
That's
For
right.
the listings, but we still are responsible for marketing ourselves. I
Yes,
think.
that's where we're going with this one. So the end, your job becomes, we do the attracting for the clients for the homes, right? Your
Yes.
job is to people that have homes to give to us to sell, right? That's really the interesting thing. And so your marketing is attracting, but it's also that's number one job is attracting people to say, interesting. Oh, she's in real estate, right?
Mhm.
That's that. Now, once that thought crosses their mind and you have attracted their attention a little bit, now you go to work. And this, I think, is the difference between people who are making it and crushing it and people who are not. Because once somebody reaches out and it's that text or it's that soft referral or it's that open house walking through the front door or it's the DM on Instagram or whatever it's that first little reach out, that's where it's made or destroyed right then, right? So that's where sales comes in. And that's where I know that you are really, really, really working hard to get better and better every day on presenting yourself, right? And
Yes.
present yourself in a manner that the clients who are reaching out to you actually like what you're reaching out to them with, right? That's where the DISC and the VAK and all that sales skills comes into place. But that's sales. So the marketing, and you're doing a great job on pushing it out on Insta and all the different channels that you're playing in right now. And it's just the more you reach out, the more you market, the more people will reach out to you, and then you can actually sell. So what are some of the marketing channels you're doing right now?
I am mostly on Instagram and Facebook right now. One of my goals for next year is to tap into LinkedIn too.
Okay.
Because I am in that first job market with my friends where a lot of them are searching to upgrade, and LinkedIn is where a lot of people in the professional world spend their time. And I didn't really realize that because I'm not in the corporate world. But I think that I'm at a good age range right now where LinkedIn would be a really good place for me to hang out.
Puma loves LinkedIn.
Yeah, I need to be like Puma and love LinkedIn because I don't really, it's not interesting to me, but I can pretend for real estate.
Well, you just got to understand everybody, they're different, right? People are consuming, they're in different mindsets on TikTok
Yes.
than they are on Instagram, than they are on Facebook, than they are on LinkedIn,
Right.
right? They're different thought process, they're in different energies, they're in different ideas. And so those who understand the differences, it's just it's the same package, but it's just different packaging.
Right.
Laid back, some more professional. You might be doing some blogs, you might be posting some articles in LinkedIn that you're not going to post on TikTok or Instagram, right? It's just the different on same thing. But really the whole
and
goal
sometimes
is
you can take the same content, but make a funny TikTok while posting a serious article, but it's all about the same subject. So that's interesting.
Relevant or irrelevant. So Steve Hurley, Stingray Chevrolet, is my neighbor. And I'm walking the dog yesterday and he comes around the corner and this Ferrari Roma, which is a brand new Ferrari, 280,000. He had to pay 320,000 for it because you can't get them. You got to pay over retail. And so we're talking about his dealership, which is just out of control. He's making money like hand over fist and he's got no cars. Like we have no inventory. So Steve and I, our businesses are very similar. We sell about the same amount of units a year, but he is just crushing it right now. So he's hoping to have another 150 cars delivered this month, and they're all already sold. And he usually keeps $150,000 a month worth of floor plan income, which he can't do. So right now he's repaving his parking lot because there's no cars to put on it. But anyway, so we're talking, and he's got a social media guy. He hired a young guy, social media, and an older guy, marketing guy, and they're doing things. And he got into TikTok. And he took his car to the car wash and he had a Stingray Chevrolet shirt on. Like I have my shirt on, right? And the kid said, "Oh, Stingray, we watch all your TikTok videos." So now he's a celebrity on TikTok. And her and all of her friends are watching TikTok because they're putting their car videos out, and he's doing this little garage thing. So a lot of my neighbors have Ferraris. So he's going around to their different houses and filming their Ferraris in their garages and talking to them, doing interviews. And all these kids are watching this stuff on TikTok. I just thought, and here's Steve, he's my age. And we're like, he's on TikTok. Right. So it's just all relevant. So there's a car dealer, we're real estate, same thing. And he's fascinated with our business. I'm fascinated with his. And
Well, it's just, the simplest thing about that, right, is a different channel, right? There's HGTV, there's Nickelodeon, there's Disney Plus, there's Netflix, there's stand-up comedies, and there's documentaries, and there's thrillers, and there's make you cry dramas, right? So, and every one of those has a different audience at a different time and a different mood and different ads, right? Your YouTube videos, exact same thing. You have different ads depending on what you're actually watching. So it's really, really good. The point of this that I'm making is from a marketing perspective, you're reaching out and you're where people's attention is. And guys, you don't have to. A lot of people say, I don't have time. I don't want to do all this stuff. You don't have to. Because if you're fine at Masters Ruby, which is a phenomenal level, just keep doing what you're doing and you'll stay at that Masters Ruby level, which is providing a nice lifestyle. But if you want to go to Centurion and double Centurion or whatever the numbers would be, you want to make 200 grand or 300 grand a year, then all you need is different eyeballs, more eyeballs. You got to keep doing what you're doing to stay at that level, but you need more eyeballs to attract. And then once they get attracted to you, now you can actually sell. And now you put more sales in the spreadsheet, and now you've got more cash in the bank, and now you can buy more things, income producing things, right? To one day take the pressure off of you along the way.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about with Jessica today was your friend Kaylee, who bought a house.
Yep.
And now she's moving to where? Minnesota or something?
Wyoming
with her boyfriend, and she needs to sell her house. But she didn't buy her house from you. She's your high school friend.
Yeah, she went through the Suncoast lending program, and they recommended a realtor to her, and she thought that she had to use the realtor to get the loan through Suncoast.
So you figured that one out, but now she's hired you to sell it. So why do you think she thought of you to sell her house when she didn't hire you to buy her house?
She DM'd me on Instagram.
So she follows you on Instagram.
Yep.
So she's got a townhouse. Is it a single family house or townhouse?
It's a villa.
It's a villa in Riverview. And you put it on the market, right?
Yep. Last Thursday.
And I know you well enough to know you actually did a presentation and you showed her all the things we're going to do. And not just, I listed my friend's house, you showed her stuff. You put it on the market, and what happened?
We had 7 offers in 3 days.
Okay. And you put it on the market at how much?
We put it on the market for $237.
And what did she
one
pay
of the
for it?
agents who always watches this wrote us an offer, and I called her last night to explain what happened. But it sold $23,000 over asking price.
Wow.
Yep. I thought it was slowing down. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's slowing down. You're not getting as many offers and everything. But I wrote another offer for a buyer this weekend, and there were 18 offers, and my buyer did not get it. So it's not slowing down. And I read an article this
Well, it is
morning.
slowing down because instead of 14 offers, you only had 7.
Yes.
So it's going from Mach 1 to warp speed.
Yes, but the 18 offers one or whatever had a pool, and pool homes are getting more offers than not pool homes.
Question.
So.
Well, here's the other point about that. There is no it to slow down, right? And I just want to remind you, there is no it. The it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath pool home that has, in this location, which in that district, that is the only it that we care about, because that's the micro market. So
Right.
A lot of just got a reminder. I know you know this, and I'm just reminding for everybody watching, because people say, how's the market? What's going on? Is it slowing down? So the response that I've been giving people is, what are you talking about? Because one night vacation rental properties are a totally different it than a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 6-month minimum versus a 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhome versus a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in Plant School District with a pool, right? So it depends on your micro it and the number of competing its that are on that market. And that's the only thing that we care about. And so a lot of people are like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right.
So that it doesn't really compete with the Chevy Cruze at Steve Hurley Chevrolet. There's two different markets, right? Somebody just paid 40 grand over for the Ferrari and may or may not be paying 40 grand over for the Cruze, and it's a totally different market. And so and I know you know that, but I just like to remind those points down because that's the interesting part in this market. Now, what was the sale? Let's take that example for a second, Craig. So how much marketing did Jessica have to do to get that listing, that villa?
Whoa, I think that's really important because the marketing is actually done up front. Right? I mean,
You mean me marketing to get the listing? Or do
No,
you mean the listing?
marketing the listing.
Well, two parts to that one. She's been marketing to be top of mind for years.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, she's owned the house for 2 years, over 2 years.
And so how often do you post on Instagram?
I'm pretty diligent. This past week I was doing a lot of wedding stuff, so I didn't post as much. But really, I try to post between 5 and 10 stories on Instagram a day. And then I've been trying to post probably 3 to 5 posts a week. And
Which is
reels get thrown in there.
Which is a job.
So
It is. It's a pillar. It is a pillar in this business to where you can easily spend, I mean, if you batch out 4 hours at a time to like plan out your social media for a week or two, I mean, that is a part of the business that is required. And it really does take that long because you're trying to write captions that reach the DISC and the VAKs, and you're trying to use hashtags that will optimize your post. And it's a pillar. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to post. If you really want it to be,
you said 4 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, most people work 40 hours a week for the man.
Right.
And,
well, 4 hours a week just batching your content. And that's not including, actually talking.
We got another 36 hours of the week to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So posting not just about her real estate, she's posting about the wedding. She's posting about checking out the venue, posting about all that stuff. It's a real person to connect with other people that are actually following you as a person, as an entity, as an entertainment show. Right?
Yeah.
Because
I was actually talking with a past client this morning. I interacted with their story and they said, oh my God, so good to hear from you. They were talking about their little baby and they asked me, how's the wedding planning going? And I know they're engaged. So I said, how's your wedding planning going? And so it just creates this circle of talking to people, even if it's not about real estate.
That's it. If you want to use this pillar. And if you don't want to use it, then don't, but don't half-assedly do this pillar. Like if you're just going to post once a month or week or even day, right? Really, it's really not going to become a super producing pillar for yourself. So do something different. And that's okay. That's what's beautiful about this industry is it's different. You can do whatever you want. But if you did the exact same thing Jessica's doing, you're not competing with her because you have completely different spheres. Like you might have a few overlaps, but it doesn't matter. They're going to pick one of you. Who cares? Some are going to pick you. Some are going to pick her. But the facts are, a lot of people that the other person doesn't know. So if everybody did what Jessica's doing, there would not be competition because you're reaching different people, especially when you get into your 6 degrees of separations and all those things. All the people that are LinkedIn are different than your TikTok, than your Instagram, than your Facebook, and your Nextdoor. I don't know if you do it Nextdoor yet, but it's so annoying. Nextdoor drives me crazy because all it is a bunch of people bitching about things.
Really?
It's like lost dogs and cats a lot.
Yeah, but you know what? It's this. I guess Facebook's for old people, but if Facebook's for old people, Nextdoor's for like super old people because all they do.
That's the one I'm on because they email me.
Tammy Vasquez says, I hate Nextdoor.
Nextdoor, yeah, but then don't do it. But if you wanted to, those eyeballs that are bitching about the guy who banged his drums at 10:30 at night are not on Instagram, are not on Facebook, are not on LinkedIn, are not on TikTok. So if you want to reach those people, you have to watch the channel. You got to be on the channel that they're on, right? Or you're like, you know what?
And they actually live in your neighborhood.
Correct, right? And then
Instead of on Instagram, they could be in another state watching your stuff, but
Right.
the next door people live next door to you.
that's right. So just bringing value to people on that one. So that's just fun. Tammy, I'm with you on next door, especially over on the beaches. We got a bunch of bitchy people, which is surprising.
Oh, no, we have them here.
What's that?
We have them here. The same story you told, banging the drums at 10 o'clock at night and all that other
Yeah.
stuff.
And then urgent.
What kind of snake is this? Should I be afraid of it?
Yep, but that's that mission. If you want to be top of mind in your neighborhood, that's a place where the eyeballs are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And every once in a while, there's a decent post, and hey, does anybody know a good electrician? Then throw out something in there. At least your voice comes in there. But that's not the point of it. Today is really the marketing. And Craig and I were talking last night, and it's really the medium is the message, right? It depends on what you actually do. And then once you're actually marketing yourself, and you get the inbound DM, phone call, text, whatever it is, then their job really starts, right? That's
Right.
the important. Not just posting is important, but that's lead gen activity. Then when the lead comes in, then you pounce on it, then you close it. And it's fun. I was talking with somebody, some of the new projects we have over here. One of them specifically, this is interesting. And the marketing of a project is, as to Craig's point, the company does most of that. Century 21's a machine. It syndicates it all over the place. It looks good. And you don't have to worry about that. It's going to get the fact that that property is on the market is gone. So, and one way you can think about, once you got the listing signed, you can just let the marketing happen and people will come to you, because that's how it works. Now, what you want to do is promote your own listings. So people in your sphere are tagging their friends who they know are looking for properties, and you can double side it, which is the whole side of the world. And it depends on how much marketing you actually do. This one of the projects with the 12-unit townhomes that we have over here, I got a guy just bought 2 of them. And then he wanted to send it to his friends. And he's like, well, my friend said he didn't really like the photos. Do you have any more? Right?
No, it's not
And
built yet.
And this is an interesting thing, because this is not in the Century 21 system yet. These are, I've been able to talk to clients into keeping them off market, so just you guys can sell them, which is great. So Johnny, one of the agents on we sold 2 of these to his clients, because the rest of the marketplace doesn't even know they can even have them yet, which is good. And then so his friend wanted to buy one, didn't like it because the pictures were there, and wanted to know if we can make some better renderings of the floor plans, right? Interesting thought. I had all of that ready to go, but when you have 10 of the 12 sold already, I'm not going to go spend the extra $5,000 to do the 3D renderings and the crazy walkthroughs that we were going to go do, right? Which is the answer. But is that the right answer? Maybe not, but maybe. But the world doesn't even know that this is out there. My point of this one is the medium is the message, right? So what I will do, I will get all of this done still, because that's going to be the image of ourselves and of our company and of our marketing for new home projects, right? So this
Right.
landing will be phenomenal, so the next people can see it, but most of the world doesn't even know it's out there. But my point of that is, when you do market, even if this friend's house you knew was going to get multiple offers, still put it out there as if it is the best property ever, because the friends that are following you on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok are going to see you. And if they're interested, they're going to click on that. And that's a representation of you as an agent, right? Of the work
Right.
that you. So if you know that it's going to sell overnight and you just slap up some lazy ass cell phone pictures, bad idea,
Right.
because far reaching effect, you know that this everything we list, guys, is going to sell right now. It's not a big rocket science situation, right? So, but act as if it's your only opportunity for lead gen and it's your marketing, and that's going to go further. I can't believe some of the stuff I see out there on Zillow photos, MLS photos. It's terrible. So I know you do a great job. You get professional photos every single time.
Yep.
And because it's about you marketing you, not necessarily you marketing that home.
Right.
I want other people to see how I market a listing, so that they know what work they're getting from me when they hire me.
Yep.
And everything you do is watched.
It is. It
Roberta
really-
wrote, what were your earliest and most successful marketing habits that you feel catapulted your direction success you have now?
One thing actually that has.
Let me comment on
surprised
that before you start, because you're 5 years in the business now.
6.
6.
Yep.
Okay. Just started 6. You were successful from year 1. I think you did
Yeah.
12 deals or 15 deals, which is raging success, in that first year. But you had some really, really tough times, right? And
Yes.
you tried a bunch of different things and tried to make it work and didn't work, and you failed and you succeeded, and all these different things happened over time. But now you're
Yeah.
6 years in, and every time I talk to you, I mean, it's hard to see you because you've always got an appointment.
I feel like every time I talk to you, I'm like, yeah, I'm working.
It's true, right? But you're always going on a showing, you're going to a listing presentation, you're doing this, you're doing that. So anyway, back to Roberta's question, what were your earliest and most successful marketing habits? Because you've done it all.
Yeah, when I first started, the way that I marketed was cold calls. That was my lead generation. That's how I marketed things. I called and I did just listed calls. And I said, I did the whole little radius around the neighborhood. And I said, hey, I just got a new listing, blah, blah, blah. And that's how I got my first listing. And then I got the listing across the street because of my just listed calls.
And I remember you took me a picture of the street. It had 2 signs and both of them had your name on them.
Yep.
That was
really cool.
That's so cool.
That was really cool. And then the seller that I helped her purchase a new home. So that was when I really started. I was cold calling a lot. And then I really didn't like cold calling. I probably did it very solidly for the first 2 years. And I would go into the office, and I worked with Susie Witzigman, and the two of us would go into the office and we would make cold calls from 10 a.m. to noon. And we would set appointments, and we would go on appointments. And that's how we built our business. And we worked with Cardis leads as well. And so we were working with military a lot. I got my military relocation professional certification. So I started marketing that I was working with military on my Facebook and on my Instagram. And some of my followers were like, oh, that's so cool. So they would reach out. So I've done some Zoom interviews with buyers who are military from marketing that. But lately, one thing that I have kept up with is the preferred client club things that we do with Century 21, the marketing. They are magazines. They are little postcards that go out on fall, spring, summer. And lately, because now I have some past clients that have been in there for a few years, they're starting to get my past client referral cards. And I've probably gotten like 4 calls from those in the past 2 weeks. One just went out and I'm like, what? This is awesome. So lately, now year 6 in the business, I'm finally getting past client referrals. But to get those past clients, I was doing a lot of cold calling. I was doing a lot of Instagram stuff, just trying to put my face out there and make people know that I'm a realtor. And I was picking up the referral leads through the company just to build a business and get past clients.
I'm going to go back to a class that Chris Reed did a couple of weeks ago when he talked about, I think it was 89% of consumers said they would do business with a real estate agent again, but only 20-something% actually did.
Right.
So I can't let that go. We've got 50,000 past clients as a company.
Mm-hmm.
So there really should be no competition for us, except people come in and go out of the business, but you have to stay in touch with them. So I'm really happy. Your mom told me about this the other day. You had 2 calls last week on your preferred client club cards.
Yep, I did.
But
yep.
You're invested. The company's sharing it with you. So
Yes.
if you buy preferred client club, we take it off the top. So you're paying your percent, we pay our percent of your.
It's only $45 for 5 years of marketing material quarterly. It's
Right.
Genius. I mean, it is amazing. So that was.
But then
been
you have to take the time and fill out the postcard and write something kind of cute in there.
Yeah.
Right. And you probably put
I
some glitter and
usually
sparkle.
go to their Facebook and I see what they've been up to lately. And I put a little message in there. Congratulations on this, or so cool to see you got this job promotion, or one of my past clients has like a woodworking shop. So awesome to see your woodworking stuff. And so I just try to put a little personal connection in there, but they like those. Also joining community events and organizations. I'm a part of Easter Seals and have been on the Tampa board now for 3 years. And I've been the chair of the the event they do, Get Down to Business, for the past 2 years. And so I've seen referrals come from those organizations. So people that are on the board with me have reached out or have referred their cousin to me, who I sold her a house last year. So just kind of getting your face out there and letting people know that you are in real estate. And if you can help them somehow with their job or what they're doing, you know, they'll come back and think of you. You just have to stay top of mind.
Now, let me rewind this conversation for a little bit, because we kind of glossed over it. And it's, I think for everybody watching, it's probably one of the, if not the most important part. When she first decided to really do well in this business, she didn't have crapola. She didn't have any real, I mean, she's 22 at the time, right? Mm-hmm. She doesn't have a bunch of rich friends. She doesn't have any buyers, and she's got pressure from every angle in the world looking at her from her family, right? I mean, it sucks to be Jessica at this stage in life, really did. And I feel bad for you, because you may think it's easier for her, but it's worse, right? She has, and but to do it, and the tears, and I hate this, is because I saw you a lot doing this stuff when you and Susie were doing the calls, and no showing and not showing, and you showing and not her showing, and you don't do it and she doesn't do it. And it's the consistency, it's a struggle. It wasn't just, hey, we just showed up at 10 to 12, it was great. It sucked, right? It was a struggle, and it was there was like vile hatred about doing the act, right? Because it's not, but you got to do the boring things, Greg, right? Until the boring things lead to results that are exciting. Mm-hmm. And guys, what she did was a deliberate energy action of, I remember the conversation, where do you want to see your signs up? Well, I'd like to have our signs up in this neighborhood. Well, then block out the rest of the world and just own that neighborhood, and go tell everybody in that neighborhood that you exist, because right now they don't know, and see who in that neighborhood is thinking about selling their house. And that's how you build the business. And it's going to suck, and you're going to have to talk to hundreds of people until you find one, but you're going to find one. And once you find one, now you have business inventory. And now once you have inventory, now you tell everybody in the neighborhood you have inventory. And now you're just not some random person. You're a random person with a property for sale. And then that's going to sell. And then now you're a random person that has a property for sale that you sold. So now you're successful. So now you're really known in just that neighborhood, but forget about the rest of the world. And then what happened is another sign came up, and then she's now successful in that neighborhood now with 2 pieces of inventory. Then one sold, another one sold, and another one listed. And then now all of a sudden, a few months later, she has credibility on that street, like true street cred, right? That's the whole goal. So that was and God, it took a long time and tons of emotional battles and strength to just keep with it. And she didn't have to do it, but she made the decision that this is where she wanted her business to be, right? So at that stage of her career, she needed something. And I remember the conversation, do you want to do a $180,000 townhome, or do you want to do $1 million house? Right. The check has a 0 on it at the end. Remember that? And then so she on $1 million expires, right? And which was
the auction program and got the listing.
Right. Yep. You had to talk to people. So for everybody watching, you're no different than the 22-year-old version of Jessica that was looking for her next level was 1.
Yeah.
Okay? Even if you're doing 26 deals, your next level is 30, or your next level is 40. But you got to do something different than you've been doing in order to get different than you have. So same conversation to you watching, where do you want to see your signs up? And then put a barrier around that neighborhood and become known there. However you feel like doing it. Volunteer at go on the Facebook pages, bring in some deals, go next door if you can create, if it's your neighborhood. So I wanted to rewind that because I think that's super important. The struggles that lead to this, right? And
one thing that's really cool for the farming that's not so real estate-y if you don't want to do it that way. There's a neighborhood in Riverview that for Halloween, they did a little "You've Been Booed" package. And they drop this package off at people's door, and it has little Halloween decorations in it. And it says, now it's your turn to boo 2 other neighbors. And then you get them little gift baskets, and it just creates this little community. And so maybe for Christmas or Thanksgiving, you could, in a little farm area that you want, you could kind of start that and put your business card in there. And so people know who started it maybe. post about it on the Facebook page and, try to create something like that. It's just kind of cute.
Nextdoor.com.
Nextdoor.com. Yep. Yeah, that was really cute, I thought. And then it just creates a little sense of community in your area.
See, that's
So-
do that if you focus, if you micro niche down, right?
Right.
Now, you're micro niching, some of your world is micro niche to a neighborhood. The rest of your world is broadcasting to literally the world on social media. So
Yeah.
you can blend pillars, but you've got to time block out. Like she says hours a week set aside to launch your social media campaign. You got to have time set aside to work the neighborhood. You got to have some time to set aside to work your leads. And you got to, how about you talk about your schedule for a little bit? Because I think that'll help a lot of people. Like, how do you time block? And you're not perfect at it. Nobody is. But what's your perfect with time blocking?
Well, Google Calendar is my best friend, and it's all color coordinated. So from the very beginning, you have always told us appointments are, 1, 3, or 5 p.m. Would you like to meet at 1 or 3? Which one works for you? So those have always been my schedules, like forever. So I try to use the morning to do the whole social media thing and set up appointments and get organized. And then the afternoon, I usually leave for actual appointments and driving around. Yep.
The behind that, just so for those who are watching and haven't heard that before, is the morning is yours, right? That's the sacred time. That is for you to get your head right. Hopefully watching this or getting some content pumped into your head.
Mhm.
And then and then just find new business, whether it's lead follow-up, whether it's new lead generation. That's your posting, that's your responding to DMs, that's your whatever it is for lead generation. But it's got to be held sacred that when the home appraiser says, hey, can you get me in at 10, right? Or 10:30, sorry, I've got an appointment. How about 1? Right. And Jessica's done is she wants to have a life too. So she tries to pigeonhole people into a 1 o'clock or a 3 o'clock appointment. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I would love to show you properties. I could see you Tuesday at 1 or Wednesday at 3. Which one's better for you? Right. Oh, I'd love to play what your house is worth. I can come over at 3 o'clock this afternoon or tomorrow at 1. Which one's better for you? How about 11:30? God, I wish I could. How about 1 or 3? Which one's better for you? Right. And then when you keep that going, now you have a life. And if they can't do that, then maybe a 5. 5's negotiable, but you'd rather not do the 5 if you can get them into the 1 or 3. So you actually go home and take care of, or do something fun, go to a hockey game. And so that's the point. If you control your business that way and you look for the people to cram into your appointments, you've got a total of 5 days with 2 appointment slots. You have 10 open appointments a week, right? And some of those you schedule with yourself. And if you don't have anything tomorrow at 1, maybe that's the time with you to plan your social media post for the next 3 days. Right. And that maybe 3 o'clock is you driving in a marketplace and looking for some tear down houses, right? Whatever it may be, but those are your appointment times. And then you have a time to go home on there. So yeah, I'm glad that you
I think it's super, super important because you're not a slave to this industry, but you act like you are. Stop it.
And it's hard to think that, it's especially in this market, because it feels like we are, because once a property goes on the market, it's gone. So unfortunately right now it does feel a little more like, oh God, I need to rearrange my schedule to get there for this client, because if I don't, they literally won't be able to buy this house. So that is a little frustrating right now and really hard to maneuver.
But
Lauren just wrote, yes, the schedule's the key. At the beginning, I let my clients set it. It's so freeing once you take control and stick to your timeline.
Right.
And that couldn't be said any better.
So Jessica, when a house opens up on Oak Street that is perfect for your clients and you know multiple offers are coming in, you can make exceptions because you can negotiate with yourself, right? And so if you have to, and it's worth it, and you know it's the right thing to do, then do it. But just reschedule your time with yourself later, right? But like really make it a point. I remember when Dad was drilling into our heads, Craig, right? I remember he said to me, "Your 10 to 12 time, if you had some terrible disease and you had to get blood from 10 to 12, if you missed one, you would die. How many blood transfusions would you miss?" The answer is right. So your schedule is your lifeline, and if you screw up your schedule, you're going to die in business, right? So that's 12 becomes such a critical
You're either
moment.
going to die from burnout or die because you didn't set time for lead generation, you don't have any business coming in, or
Right. And then you get one of these, right? The roller coaster hamster wheel from hell of real estate stocks, right? So you've done a pretty good job now. I haven't seen an 11-cent bank statement from you for a couple years now, right? Because you didn't like that feeling. But
Right.
but you needed to have that feeling to know what you didn't like about it, which
Yeah.
I think is an aspect of this thing too, because you're not, every one of us goes through crapola, guys, and you're going to go through waves. And, you know, the best thing we can do is realize that you don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
And then you don't know what a good day is until you have a crappy one, right? And that's the important part about this business. You don't know what a business is like until you have you don't know what a successful business is like until you have a crappy one. And hamster wheel and roller coasters is a crappy one, guys. It doesn't make sense. And you don't ever have that again. You just consistently block your time out and say, I'm going to talk to new people every day to see who's thinking about buying or selling. Then you're going to have checks coming in weekly, just like you should, or every other week, something consistently, so you don't have any of these. Because Craig, how bad is it? Somebody go make 50 grand 1 month, and then they're broke and make nothing for 3. And then they go 20 and then they're broke and they make 0. And life sucks at that, guys. It's stressful. And there's no reason for it. It should be unacceptable to you until, you know, that's the only one that's going to happen. But those who repeatedly do that, they do that to a point. And then at one point in time, Craig, and you see it, enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to consistently work, right? And then once they make that decision, then they're consistently at the top agent retreats. They're consistently at the monthly tops awards levels, because they realize that it's up to them and it's up to you to decide what are you going to do. And if you have a check coming in this week, it's because you kicked ass 45 days ago.
Right.
If you have a check coming in this week, it's because 45 days ago you didn't prospect. And that's a hard realization to have. And if you have a check coming next week, good job. You worked hard 5 weeks ago. And if you don't, then you didn't. So the thing that's fun about this is you can change the end of your year right now. Every one of you could have the most amazing holiday bonus, New Year's blast of the world, because what you do today and tomorrow and Wednesday, and not Thursday, Friday, have some family time. And then after that, crank it. Go pop 3 extra closings out before New Year's. Why not? Make it a sport game. Go. What if you got an extra 25 grand hitting your bank account the week of Christmas, right? Awesome. Do it. Do it. If you
We're
want
still
to.
in a time where we can still close before the end of the year.
That's right. Right now, you got about a week and a half.
Yeah, we're right there.
And there's people that are buying.
I wanted to talk about that, Jessica, because you and I talked last night. And so you had 7 offers on your listing. Let's talk about that. What was it that made, I mean, Lauren's online right now. She was one of the offers and she didn't get selected. So I know we tried. We did. I said, select Lauren's. But what happened? What was the selection process like with you and the customer? Because this is marketing too, right?
Yes.
You have to market this offer to see which is the right one, because you had some baby buyers in there.
Offer and marketing yourself as an agent to the listing agent is huge, huge. The one that won literally came in like right at my deadline when I said offers were due, and he was like straight up harassing me. How's it going? How's it going? What do I need to do? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? And he was on top of it. And he sent an email, he called, he texted. His offer was really good. He had a 20-day loan approval period. He put a 10-day inspection period, but this week is Thanksgiving. So I was like, okay, that's reasonable. But he was like, he's like, I was the VP of sales for Beezer Homes. I was this and this. I worked, I get recognized for being a Beggins. It is what it is. He was just like, I worked with your dad in this project back in his days. He's like, my lender, he literally forwarded me the email where the lender said you are pre-approved, attached all this stuff for his buyer. He was like, this is my lender. He's never lost me a deal in the 15 years that I've worked with him. I do not mess around with unqualified buyers. These guys are ready to go. He was just like, the energy behind it. The offer was well written. He was following up. He was extremely diligent. And he also had the highest priced offer. But he just did a really good job getting in my face, saying how much his clients wanted it.
But he tried to communicate. He texted you, he phoned you, he emailed you, he did everything, right?
He did everything. And the client saw him communicating with me while I was there. And I was there at like 7:30 last night on a Sunday. So she was like, wow, this guy's working. Like, he's really on top of it. She's like, I feel comfortable, working with him. It's like, me too, because he is on it.
Wow.
Let's go a little deeper on that one, because in this marketplace right now, guys, that is the most important sale you can make, right? Because let's go into Jessica's shoes. She's a listing agent. Let's cut it down to the bare bones of what Jessica wants, right? And let's just talk about it for a second. And I want you guys to chime in your answers to this question. Jessica, be quiet for this part. Let's see what you do. What does Jessica want as a listing agent with multiple offers coming in? What is the one thing, subconsciously, consciously, whatever you want to say, what is the one thing Jessica is looking for in all of these offers to come in? All right, let's see. Easy, Danielle writes in, communication, keep going.
Reassurance and assistance.
A clean offer. These are all, come on, let's get more to the root of it, right? Danielle, you're leading.
That she's confident will close. Confidence that they'll get to the closing table.
Yep. Solid offer and a commitment. Large escrow. Those are all the details. What's best for the client? Yeah, it should be, John. Right. But let's go through human nature for a second. Easy and confidence. Okay. We're human. She wants to get paid, which is an underlying root. She will get paid. Professional. Yeah, maybe. Here's the reality of it. She wants to have the easy, Danielle Lauer, right? Nailed it. She wants easy transaction that's not going to embarrass her. Right?
Yeah, because I know the seller.
She doesn't want to look stupid, and she doesn't want to work harder than she needs to. And let's just go to human nature for a second. That's it. So what could you as a buyer's agent do to show that her job is going to be easy and she's not going to be embarrassed? That's why that guy won, right? He won because he sold Jessica that this is done. Do not worry. I've got total confidence. You are not going to look like an idiot at the end. I'm not going to wiggle out. You're going to look like the rock star. I will carry this over the goal line. Tell your seller that I am good. I know people you know. I'm in your tribe. You can like me. You can trust me. I'm good at what I do. Please pick me. I'm not wasting your time. You win with me. I win. I equal easy. I equal confidence. I equal you don't have to work anymore. Done deal. Please pick me. But
hand on the highest offer.
over and over and over, top of mind. So that guy did a phenomenal job.
He did. There was another offer that was $7,000 lower. And the lender on that one actually called me and said, this buyer is already through underwriting. His income, his assets, his credit has already been approved through underwriting. All we have to do is put a house on this transaction. And we almost selected that one because—
Did they have A selected or box B on financing?
A. Oh, no, they had box B. All of them were financed with box B.
That was bad, right? Because if that was my buyer and I wanted to win this deal, I'm gonna get you on the phone somehow, and I'm gonna talk with you, and I'm gonna say, these guys. I mean, if you check box A, it says no financing contingency. If that agent was good and they really were underwriting, and there was not an issue at all about them getting the loan, he screwed up. He should have said, I want you to note that under financing, box A is checked, which is no financing contingency, right? Yep. Psychologically, that makes Jessica feel good. And even if he was a little bit lower, that takes the question mark out of the negotiation, right? So no, did that.
Because it was lower, but it was still well over asking. So the seller was really considering it because of how far they were through the underwriting process. But I felt on that one, the lender made more of a connection with me than the agent did. So I didn't feel as connected with that one as I did with the one that won.
Correct, because he sold you on him in comfort and ease, right? Mm-hmm. Now, it might not appraise, right?
Yeah.
And who knows?
No, they're paying over appraised value. I made sure. We didn't just accept a high offer.
Up to when? All of it?
All of it.
Wow. See, there you go. Now that question mark's out of it. So that guy really did a good job.
Yeah.
So better would have been right? I'm not going to finance it. You don't have any worries about anything, but he won. But guys, take that into major consideration when you're working with the buyer and tell these third-party stories, right? Say, hey, look, I was talking to one of my colleagues in the office and let me tell you about what's happening and why she picked the offer that came in. Because remember the perfect contract Craig and I do at Next Level University all the time? Yep. It's above price. It's 100% of the money in escrow. It's closing tonight. It has no contingencies, and that's it. And the closer you that scenario, the better odds you have to winning. But every time you step a step away from that, your offer gets weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. So that's why you got to really coach your buyers as to stepping up their game, so you can show to the listing agent that it's easy and they have total confidence. And once we teach buyers how the game is really played, the fact, well, give them a little bit of low offer, let's see what they take. Boom. No, stop it. Shut up. You hired me for a reason. Sit down and listen to me. Right. That's the combination of strength you need to come into. Say, do you want this house? Do what I say.
Right.
Hey, I want to clarify some. Lauren just typed in that, remember, Jeff, box A changed with FAR bar 6. It's now cash only for box A. That's not true. All right. They took the language out. If you check box A, they just made it really clear. There is no contingency on financing. Correct. You can still check box A and get financing.
Yeah.
Right. But there's no wiggle room. You can't hide behind some bullshit answer and say, I didn't get a loan, so I'm not going to close. It is 100%.
And really, guys, and I'm going to be really strong on this for a second. The buyers you are working with right now, if you do not have a relationship with the lender to know that they are approved as a person, do a better job.
That's a marketing thing. I mean, this is marketing.
Yes.
This is Marketing Monday. When you're working an offer for a buyer on a listing, you have to market it. You have to know who that lender is, just like you're talking about. That's why I wanted you to be on here to talk about what happens when, and I'm gonna talk about your buyer side too, because you missed out on one, right?
I missed out on one, but I also last week got a VA offer accepted in a 15 offer situation.
Wow. That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's jump into that one. So let's talk about the psychology of what happened on the listing agent. So tell us the background about that story. And
I got real buddy with the agent, and it also happened to be Veterans Day, which was great. And it was my veteran who got accepted that day. But the agent started telling me things that he wanted in the offer. And he said, write a letter. He said, the owners of this home, it was rented out to their sister, and the sister had passed away, and they have a real emotional connection to this home. So I had my buyer write a letter about how much he loved the home and how much he loved the renovations that they did on it, because he told me that they had an emotional connection to it. So they loved the buyer's letter. I don't think he was the highest, but they just liked the buyer. So that was interesting.
You marketed your buyer.
I marketed the buyer and I marketed the lender, because I have been working with Veterans United a lot, and they do a really good job, and they close every single one that I've worked with them on, and early sometimes. So I marketed the lender and made sure that he knew this will close, because that was what they were worried about too. You know, as a listing agent, you want it to close on the first go round. So yep, a short inspection period. Told him I have an inspector who's ready to get out there. We can schedule this as soon as possible. Gave him backstory about the buyer. He called me a few times. We did end up covering the title insurance for the seller, because that just upped the net to the seller, where even if our offer price was the same. Yeah. I got a really good connection with the listing agent. He thinks we're best friends.
Well, you also had a really good connection with the buyer to trust you to do the things that you asked them to do.
Yes.
Right? The typical story is a VA buyer has no cash. That's not true. Right? VA buyers sometimes do have cash.
He has a little bit of cash, and I had to provide a proof of funds because he is paying a little bit over appraised value. And the listing agent wanted to see his bank account to show that he had the money to pay over appraised.
Yeah, it's like a microscope. I mean, you are really, it's a tough job out there right now. But look, everything we talk about is what you're doing, Jessica. Right?
I listen to these meetings every day.
I check.
Last week I was wedding planning. Okay, but this week.
No, there's definitely nuggets out there.
She made it easy, and she gave them confidence that it was going to sell.
That's it.
Mhm.
Gain confidence.
And the agent, remember, it's do I trust you? Are you good at what you do, and do you care about me? Right. But if I'm a listing agent, caring about me is not making me look stupid. Right. So you check those 3 boxes and you win. Guys, this is not a difficult game.
Nope.
Right. It's the simplest one ever to be played, because we play it says it's a simple game. There's only a couple little rules. And when you do this consistently, you're going to just crush it. It's the only time you screw up is when you deviate from the plan. Right. And that, guys, we can't stress that enough. When you get a listing lead, follow the freaking system and you're going to win. You get a buyer lead, follow the buyer process and you're going to win. The moment you just say, I'm not going to follow the buyer process because that's a little strong and I don't feel like doing that one, you're dead.
You're dead.
You don't send the video and you don't ask the 11 questions, you don't talk about single agency, you're going to lose. Like, why would we not just follow the simple little steps on every single transaction? Then you can actually go on autopilot and just walk into hey, listen, I'd love to chat with you about the value of your home. I got 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock or Tuesday. Which one's better for you? Great. Let me ask you a important question before it come out. I'm going to text you a little email link. Will you please watch that? It's take 6 minutes. It's going to save us a lot of time when I come over. Oh, let me come over and see the house. When can I see? 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock? Which one's better for you? Oh, look, here's 11 questions I want you to ask. If I need to talk to another agent, please read these. Right? But come on. Right? Do it.
It's like, it's scary to do it the first time, but then when you see how people respond to it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll keep doing it then.
Right.
People want leadership.
And they want you to take control, guys. And this is what I think Jessica's doing really well. Buyer, you want to buy, you haven't bought before, you haven't bought in a long time, sit down, let me tell you how I run my business, and these are the steps we're going to go through.
Right.
And I'm damn sure I do, and I'm very fortunate we're working together. Put your trust in me, and I've got you, and I'll get you a house. Who's your lender? Get me on a phone with them right now. We're doing a 3-way call, and I want to understand your loan program. Boom. I'm going to go through. I'm going to open up my Zoom room. We're going to look at houses tonight, pour a bottle of wine, and we're going to look at 28 houses tonight, and we're going to narrow it down to the top 3. And our asses are going to get in the car tomorrow at 1 or 3. Which one's better for you? We're going to go find one. We're going to pick it, and I'm going to write the offer, and I'm going to tell you what I need you to sign. If you like this, let's work together. If you don't, go work with somebody else. I got shit to do, right? Because I'm prospecting. I got 14 other people I could work with tomorrow, right? That's the attitude that comes across, guys. And then it's shooting fish in a barrel. It's how many deals do you want this week?
There's a lot of buyers out there, so you really could do that and it would be fine.
Yes. Turn
And
them
most
down.
of them are going to want to work with you because you look like you and sound like you know what you're doing. So,
And guys, if you're
You
not
do.
right now to tell people to put their houses on the market, what are you doing? If you're not, I'm gonna have to say absentee owners, guys, because if you're not working, you're out of your mind. 16% of every home, 16% of all homes are non-owner occupied homes. Why would you not be calling every one of them in your neighborhood and say, hey, Shirley, what are you doing with this house? It's worth more than it's ever been before. You have any other use for the cash? It's a great time. If not, I still love you. Call me when the fence falls down. Bye. Hey, Bob, what are you doing in New Jersey? This house is fantastic. It's worth more than ever. You guys want to sell it? You got anything to do with the cash? No, you're loaded and you love having rental properties. You want any more? Good. I'll put you on my VIP buyer list. When I find another one, I'll call you. Good deal? Great. I'll double side the deal. Have a nice day. Bye. Hey, Joe, what's going on with this extra house you have sitting over here? It's worth about $1 million. You have any use for $1 million? Screw me. No problem. Boom. Hey, what's going on with this extra house? Why not do that? It's crazy in this market when you know you're going to get 14 offers on it when you put it on the market. So this is all the stuff to do before the end of the year.
Yeah, that means don't take this week off because
Yeah.
everybody else is taking this week off. So if everybody else is taking this week off and you're still the one working, guess what?
You win.
You
And
win.
don't schedule appointments for Thursday and Friday. Go have some fun, right?
No.
But next week and just get 4 appointments and go get 3 or 4 listings next week. So cool. Well, that was a
Christian
fun.
wrote, what should I do if I'm getting FHA offers for full price? The people who are making offers don't have the money to make up the appraisal gap. Do I need to consider reducing my price? Okay, this is a theory, a thought. It's called abundance, right? If you think that there's nobody out there that will make up the appraisal gap, you're right. I believe there is. There's no rule, Christian, that says you have to put a listing on the market. It has to sell in 3 days.
No.
It's okay if it takes a week or two. So get rid of this idea that it has to happen fast. You need to happen the right offer, the best offer first. So if the market is saying, I want to pay this, but the lenders are saying, I can't finance it, then keep it on the market. Somebody will come up with the extra cash.
But
Or
also
lower your price.
realistically
but-
price the house too to what you think it would appraise for. That's what I tell when I go on a listing appointment. I tell people I'm very realistic in the price when I price a property. This is what I truly believe that it will actually appraise for. If we put it on the market for this, I can guarantee that there will be a buyer that will pay this and we can close at this price. Let's leave it up to the buyers to tell us what they're willing to pay over.
That's the key. If you price it at market value, you'll get above market value. If you price it above market value, you're going to sit on the market.
Right. And
You-
it gives
you wanna create
buyers
that signal.
confidence knowing, okay, the house is definitely worth this and I can see that in the comps. So I'm willing to pay a little more. When it's their idea, it's easier. But if you're overpricing the property, it lowers people's confidence in the whole transaction, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
But
think
maybe
you're right.
some people do it differently.
Hey, Brian just said, we need more top agent interviews like this.
I love it.
You're considered a top agent.
Cool.
Hey,
All right, guys.
yeah, this is the newest Top Agent podcast, Happy Agent podcast there, Jonathan. There you go.
That's it.
Awesome. Jessica, thank you very
Yes, thank you very much. Last minute, I said, would you do this? And she said, yes. That's kind of the opportunity, right? You say yes. When somebody gives you an opportunity, you say yes. So.
Yep,
and
this
you
is
say yes
fun.
all the time. All right,
This is
guys.
fun. Got another question. I don't know if you guys want to answer that real quick. Where did it
So
go?
in this market, how long is too long for a home to sit? There's no answer to that.
Yeah,
I
I
would
think
say a month. If you're not getting action in a month, there's something wrong. Because if you do the bottom left-hand square of the spa has a time on market absorption rate, right? The absorption rate is less than a month. So if it's not selling in a month, there's something wrong. But if it's not selling in a day or two or three, nothing's wrong. You're just being choosy, right? That's okay.
nice. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good week.